Welcome back to Overtime here on WOTM. We talked earlier about the Alabama baseball team. Their run ended at the regional round of the baseball playoffs. However, the softball team made it all the way down to the Final Four. It was James Madison, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Florida State. Both series needed the if game because both Bama and Florida State had one loss going into it. Bama lost to Florida State yesterday. And it's one of the things that I think with this program, they came as one of the top seeds, the number 3 seed overall, and they now have a shot playing as we speak against Florida State. And one of the things I think that we've gotten to know with this program is no matter what's going on, you never can count them out, number one. And, hopefully we can get a chance to see them, maybe the Sooners, play for a national championship.
Yeah, I think today is a good example of their heart after seeing a no-hitter the other day.
That's right.
And watching their pitcher get knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
They've shown a lot of heart coming back. It's going to be an interesting finish right now. What was it, 8-6 right now?
That's right.
Yeah, so they were down, 8-0 at one point. So
exactly. And one of the things that I thought was really impressive, and you and I talked about this off camera, is Montana Fouts had just an unbelievable game. And I know we probably don't have a chance to talk much about it after the College World Series, but you talk about a player that in probably one of the biggest moments against one of the best teams ever, one of the best teams in the field with UCLA, throws a perfect game. And I think it's one of those things where that is, I think, one of the more memorable things ever. First time in 21 years, 21 up, 21 down on her 21st birthday. It's kind of the sports universe kind of bending itself around that number.
The numbers guys would love that one.
Exactly.
But there is a good side and a bit. Yeah, obviously the good side is you create history, only the 5th in College World Series history. But there's a little bit of a downside too because that's a moment.
Yeah.
So maybe you already think you've arrived at that point,
right,
where you still got a little more to do. It's great to celebrate, and I remember in the 2010 playoffs, Roy Halladay throwing a no-hitter, only becoming the second pitcher to ever throw a no-hitter in a postseason. And the Phillies didn't make it to the World Series that year.
Yep.
They didn't win the World Series that year. So it can mean as much as you make it mean.
Right.
But nonetheless, what an unbelievable performance. And it just gives credit to how hard it is to hit a softball. I mean, I don't know how some of these girls do it. I mean, I was a pretty good athlete my day. I don't know if maybe 1 out of 20 I could probably hit going in there. But we're talking about the equivalent of almost like a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Exactly.
With the way that ball is being whipped at you. So what an amazing amount of skill. I don't really think they get enough credit. I don't really think people realize how hard it is to hit or what kind of athletes these girls are.
Exactly, and they're kind of showing their mettle right now and trying to put in right now a bid to make it to the championship series. Meanwhile, Alabama played in a weird situation because there was a bad rain delay and it pushed games all the way past 2 a.m. NCAA actually said, we'll skip one day and played those semifinal games today. Here's head coach Patrick Murphy talking about the decision by the NCAA to move that game to today.
I 100% would say that Lonnie did not want to play tonight after another game. So I think that's a smart decision on their part. In the future, I'm sure that everybody on the NCAA side would love to sit down and just talk about options for perhaps a better bracket, and they've always said that to me. They say think outside the box, and I'm sure that this committee would listen to some coaches, and I think that's something that really needs to be looked at after the World Series, and I'm sure they're thinking about it too, because nobody wants to be playing till 3 a.m. And no fan wants to be in the stands till 3 a.m. So I think it was a smart decision on their part, and I appreciate it.
One of the teams already in is Oklahoma. They advanced to the Women's College World Series Championship, and what a story James Madison was. They had Odyssey Alexander, who was the pitcher that kind of captured the nation. And James Madison, a very, very small school in football. Actually, they compete in the FCS, the same level as Jacksonville State, and here they are. Obviously, softball and football go by different divisions, all Division I in softball. A great story by James Madison, but it's the Sooners that go in. If it is, I know it's trying to predict a little bit, but if it is Alabama and Oklahoma, I think that would be a barn burner considering the kind of regular seasons both those teams have had.
Yeah, you get the 3 against the 1 seed, and you get one of the, 2 of the bigger college softball programs in the country.
Right.
Remember the Braves-Mets game of 1985 that went until like 3:55 in the morning? It was on 4th of July.
I don't remember that.
It went to, because all the rain delays went to about 3:55 in the morning. There was a point where the Braves were losing by 1 in the bottom of the 18th, and they had nobody left but Rick Camp.
Right.
Rick Camp never got a hit as a pitcher. He wound up hitting a home run to tie the game. And Danny Heap in left field had put his hands on his head like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this game's still going. Then the Mets scored like 5 runs in the top of the 19th. Wound up holding the Braves off in the bottom of the inning. And then they still had fireworks at 3:55 a.m. in the morning, and people around were complaining around Fulton County Stadium.
It's crazy,
that's what I think of when I think of games that are going late.
And this series on that or that particular game made it look like that we were going to have a similar result, but thankfully they're able to work it on out there. Oklahoma, 7th trip to the College World Series Championship Series, and the Sooners are also looking for their 5th championship, joining the titles won in 2000, 2013, 2016, and 2017. Well, actually, that was a great segue, because coming up next here on Overtime, we will go back to baseball, and we will go to the Atlanta Braves. After an exciting weekend of baseball, knocking off one of the better teams in the sport. We're back at it again. We'll talk about it coming up next.